Wow, so this chapter was dope. This chapter was dope. I mean, I like this type of chapter where we get, more of Arthur's thoughts and, him, dealing with his actions, and, you got Jasmine, and then we get the reunion, little short-lived reunion, but we get a reunion. Like, I love this chapter. I love this chapter. And hopefully we stay and continue on, and we don't go back towards Nico or Grona. Like, we need to be consistent. Like, get some steady progression with what's going on, and then you can go. Like, we only get like little snippets of just like, oh, here's what's going on with Nico. Here's what's going on here. Here's what's going on with Grona. And then go back to Arthur, and then back to Aldir. It's just, we need to stay consistent. But this chapter's dope. Now, I really want to do like a live reaction to some of these chapters, because I be having a lot of thoughts and a lot of things be going through my head when I first read it, but trying to analyze and talk about it after the fact is it's more difficult than you might think. But the beginning of this chapter, we got Regis flirting with any pretty girl that he sees. So he's flirting with Angela, and so I thought that was funny, and I'm also glad that we didn't stay at Black Ben for too long. I'm glad that we just kind of like briefly stayed there for a little bit. Arthur kind of just messed around with Helen, and then we skedaddled, and we got Jasmine going with us to, well, I'll say us, but going with Arthur to Zyrus Academy. And his reasoning behind taking her with him, it just goes to show, man, like, Arthur is just such a great, well-developed character. He says that he wants Jasmine to ground him, and it's pretty much the same thing that Sylvia did with him, because he knows that he doesn't know everything, and he can't solve and figure out everything for by himself, and also he knows he makes mistakes, and he wants to get another opinion, to keep him grounded, to keep him, Arthur, and doesn't go back to being, the cold, heartless Gray, even though I don't think he can ever go back to there. All he can do is try to pretend, but not really like actually be the cold and heartless Gray. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that, just him acknowledging that, and then bringing her with him, I think that's great. I mean, I'm not sure what she can do outside of that as far as like, combat capabilities. We know that she's strong in like a general sense, like, she's stronger than your average mage, but I mean, that's not really saying much when you're dealing with retainers and scythes and Asuras and stuff like that. But they didn't have any of those at Zyrus, so it ended up working out well. Now then, when they get to Zyrus, right, the fact that they immediately knew who he was and wanted to talk to him, it wasn't surprising, but I guess it didn't go the way that I thought it was going to go when he got there, because I was thinking it was going to be more of like, okay, this is a bigger area, more populated area, so it had to be like some covert type of stuff, secret, come in and like infiltrate, you know what I'm saying? Infiltrate. But no, they was like, hey, we already know who you are. They already get it. We want you to come sit down with the High Bloods and let's have a discussion. Let's talk about this. And so I'm just like, oh, okay. So this is going an interesting way. I wonder how Jasmine's going to react to everything. But then Jasmine's gone. She goes and leaves, and Arthur sends Regis to go with him to help the guy out and send him back home or whatever. But he also wanted her to help the guy let them know that, things were about to change, kind of like rally the troops, in a sense. So that was smart. But here's the one thing that gets me in that whole scene is that how calm, cool, and collected Arthur is. Like, he's just chilling. He is just chilling, playing the chess game with the strikers and stuff like that. Like, he is just chilling. She's talking about, she's talking about all these different things about how, so you want us to just hand you over, the city of Xyris? And he's just like, yeah, pretty much. And then she's like, on my blood, I can't do that or whatever. And, Arthur. And so here's the thing. Like, Arthur, he don't want to make things bloody unnecessarily. And so she used, and that's what I got from this, that she used him being nice because of what she knows about how he treated the students and stuff as a professor. So she knows that he's not a monster. He's, what does she say? Crude when it comes to the lives of others. And so she tries to use that against him as like a weakness. Like, hey, because I know you care about, the lives of other people, anything happens, we can slaughter everybody and butcher everybody. And, they realize it's so crazy because things escalated like quick. It was like once she knew that he wanted them to just hand over Xyris Academy, and then, he said, I'm prepared to do what it takes. And then, she's just like, I'm prepared to do what it takes too. And so once that would happen, it was like, boom, all the soldiers appeared there. They got the magic barrier separating her and Arthur. I forget her name. I ain't going back to look at it. But it all happened like super quick. And I was just like, oh damn, like that just, and then he just still chilling, like, oh, you're not really paying attention to the game, like, I'm just like, man, Arthur, you too nonchalant. You just chilling back, like, yeah, I'm just chilling, playing the game by myself. I know all y'all hear about the attack. The one dude swinging the pole arm, he just break it nonchalantly, just like, no big deal. And so one of the things that they mentioned too is that we know that the Alacrians, they're scared. They already know. They already heard the rumors. They've already witnessed. Some people even witnessed, the slaughter themselves, right? And so they're already afraid of him. But because a lot of the Dicathan, like the noble families of Dicathan, because they got their knights and soldiers or whatever that, bent the knee to Grona, they don't know what Arthur is capable of. And so they're confident, like he said, they're confident, they're cool, calm, and whatever. But then it's just like, once they start attacking, like he's just like, attack me, go ahead. And then once they start attacking, and he just sitting there, he just taking it. And he said, what, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, and they're all just attacking and they ain't doing shit. And I'm just like, oh my. So Arthur is still to the point where he's not willing to throw the first blow. Every single time, he's not willing to throw the first blow when it comes to the Alacrians. Like, he's not willing to do it. And they throw the first blow, he sit there and he takes it. And they're like, all right, well, my turn now. And then just slaughtering people, man. Everybody, left, right, slaughter, slaughter, slaughter. I need a sword. Slaughter, slaughter. Like, it is just ridiculous. And then the flames were, that's not really that surprising considering what happened with the wall with Trotius. I believe his name was Trotius. What happened with Trotius and stuff like that. So it's not really that hard to believe with the Flamesworth family. We know that there was a one Flamesworth that was helping Arthur during his training back when it was Kathleen and the rest of them. But we know that there's some good ones, some loyal ones, but Flamesworth family is not very good. And so, some of their families there, and they're just getting slaughtered. So I'm just like, man, just slaughter. Now here's the thing. I need to look at her name. I need to go back and look at her name. But the chick that he met with originally, right, that was doing most of the talking, her name starts with an M. I can't think of it right now. But y'all know who I'm talking about, right? Y'all know who I'm talking about. Now she's not like all the rest of the High Bloods. Like, she's not selfish, and she didn't just immediately just get out of there and save herself when she saw everybody getting slaughtered. She was pretty much, now he couldn't decide, and I didn't really know either, but I kind of got an idea what she was. When she left like the area, but she kind of like stood by the door, just kind of watching all of the, you know, the massacre happen. He said that she was either mesmerized or she was just like in shock, like in horror, you know. And I think she was more so in horror of just what was happening in front of her. But she wasn't willing to leave like the rest of them and save herself. She stood by. So, you know, that just kind of showed me that she wasn't, you know, like the rest of them. I don't know. It's just crazy how all that escalated. I thought it'd be, you know, more back and forth like a little bit. But no, it just escalated. It went 0 to 100 and it was a wrap. But yeah, so it's just, they took his kindness for weakness, and that ended up happening. They ended up getting slaughtered. And so, you know, Arthur lets her go, the one that you know, that was like in shock, you know, watching all the carnage happens. And you know, Jasmine rolls in, and I was really curious to see what her reaction was going to be, because we know that Arthur he's an emotional person, but he's not overly emotional. He can let his emotions get the best of him, but he knows how to reel it in sometimes. He needs somebody there to, like, you know, just hold him down a little bit, right? But and that's what Jasmine's role is. And so, you know, he's starting to blame himself and starting to feel the heavy burden of just like, you know, I slaughtered all these people, and some of them were, you know, the Cathians, and they're just like, bodies are just like gruesomely just all over the floor, and blood just everywhere, dismembered, and axe and faces, and you can't recognize them and shit. And I'm just like, you know, he's starting to feel the burden and whatever. And then Jasmine come rolling in, and, you know, she's just simply like, you know, it's not your fault. It's not Durden's fault that, you know, his dad ended up dying. It was Trotius's fault. You know, the selfishness, the greed. And she used the same reasoning when it comes to, you know, the other Dicathians that's there that ended up getting slaughtered by Arthur. It's just like, you gave them chances, but their leaders, the people who they looked up to, don't care about their lives. And so you can't blame yourself for some shit it's not your fault. Like, they're traitors, man. There's traitors, and he doesn't have any mercy for traitors. Like, you're just, it's over. And so, then we get the meeting, right? We get the meeting. The meeting is dope. Lilia, Vincent, and Professor Glory. What is it? Vanity Glory? Yeah. And you know, we see Vincent, and apparently he didn't gain some weight. He gained some weight, and, you know, he probably was stress eating. He was probably stressed out and shit. So he was probably, you know, eating some food, you know, because he all stressed out or whatever. But Lilia's, you know, she's fighting and whatever. We knew that she was trying to, you know, we knew that in a little short story. We knew that she was trying to save people, you know, from being captured by, you know, the Alacrians and stuff. And so she's been fighting, and, you know, they have their whole little reunion hug and whatnot, and it goes back again. You know, we get Professor Glory, and she looks the same, but she's more like, you know, she's not as like happy, and like that smile's not on her face anymore. She's more like stern and stoic, and just kind of like, you know, no bullshit, just serious, right? But it goes back to the thing again, which I want there to be an explanation. I want Arthur to sit down and talk to everybody about what happened when he was in Alacria, and like the different people that was there and the people that helped them and whatever, and try to explain, to give them a different perspective as far as the Alacrians, because everybody still think that they're just this vicious, murderous group of people, when really they're being, I'm not going to say being controlled, but they're being influenced and manipulated by Agrona, and on the lies that he tells, and, you know, the whole high blood system, and, you know, trying to bring the power of your blood up or whatever. So I want Arthur to sit down and like talk to everybody about what happened, so that way they can have a better understanding of just like, this is the reason why I'm not killing everybody. You know, this is the reason, because I don't want to be like them. I don't want to be a murderous savage that just kills people who given up or who are defenseless or whatever. Like, you want to give people a chance, right? And so I just wish that he would have a conversation with somebody about that. But yeah, so it's not over with yet. They still gotta like secure the city, and they still gotta figure out what they're doing with the other Elacrians that's there. You know, probably just send them to Elenwar like the rest of them, right? I'm guessing that's what they probably end up doing. Maybe it's too many of them. I don't know. But yeah. So that was really about it that happened in this chapter. Not anything too crazy, you know. It was dope. It was fun. It was fun. And please stay with the Arthur POV and like, let's continue. Let's see what happens next. Like, let's stop switching back and forth. But yeah, it was dope. Tell me what you guys thought about the chapter. You know, I really enjoyed the chapter. Like, shoot, I'll probably give this chapter like a 9 out of 10. Like, it was really dope. Aldir, when is Aldir coming? Man, I'm so ready. I'm so ready for him to show up. Like, where are you at? You a god. You should be able to get there in like 0.26 seconds. But anyway, other than that, that's it. Y'all have a good weekend. Peace.